Hello, this is Father Michael Nasser coming to you from St. Nicholas Orthodox Church here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with this week's Midweek Reflection. And I know it's a little complicated. Let me draw you the map of what we're talking about. This is the third part of a 3-part supplement to a 5-part sermon series on prayer. So, get out that, scratch out that little map so you know what we're talking about. And the first 2 supplemental things I said ingredients we really have to have in terms of our prayer, if we're going to be more consistent in our prayer. 1, we talked about the importance, although it's not sexy and exciting, the importance of having a schedule, and that we schedule our time for prayer. Schedule the things that we think we don't need to schedule for, and yet because we don't schedule for them, we tend not to do them as often. The second thing we talked about last week is discipline, and what discipline really means. It's not the heavy lift that we think it is. We just turned into that. We don't understand what it is. So if you didn't watch that, go back and watch that. Today is the conclusion of this 3-part supplement to the 5-part series on what we need if we're going to pray. And this one is the most important of all. And like anything, typically the answer on the most important thing is going to be love. We need love. Not love in general, not love in any vague sense, specific love, sacrificial love for God. That's the most important ingredient to developing an effective prayer life, love for God. Yes, our prayer life is going to feed that love for God. We're going to understand Him better, and we're going to be motivated more as we get to know God for who He is. We're going to love Him more, which means we're going to want to pray more. But it's got to start with love. We can't just build up to it. Duty is fine. Obligation, nothing wrong with it. Discipline, of course, important. All those things are important. But nothing motivates as much as love. And why that works particularly with God is that God is motivated in everything He does for us by the same thing, by love. That's what is behind everything God does for us. It's His love. Yes, He doesn't like the things that we get into when we sin. He doesn't like the things that we do that draw Him away from Him. But everything, all of that is even under the umbrella, if you want to say it that way, of His love for us. If we love God, or at least can start to love God, that's what's going to motivate us to get up a few minutes earlier, to take extra minutes out of our time that we think are really so important we're doing other things, and we take that time and we give it to Him. Again, duty is fine, obligation, those things are good to follow, but nothing motivates like love. Now, here's the bad news. If we have not been really steady in our prayer, if we have not been very consistent, the number one reason is we really haven't been loving God. And we hate to admit that, we hate to say it out loud, but it's true. And when they came to Jesus and said, what are the greatest commandments? He said, love God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all your mind, all your strength. And let's be honest, we have not loved God with all. At best, we've loved Him with some. And if we're going to grow in prayer, to do it more regularly, more deeply, more authentically, it's going to be because we want to act on our love for God. So, I've said a lot of different things, 3 different reflections on 5 different homilies, but it always comes back to love. We have a God that has loved us in so unimaginable ways, and yet ways that are very tangible and understandable. The fact that we can look at an icon, an image of Christ on the cross, so we can hear those gospel recounts of Him giving Himself to us as He did in His passion, in His suffering, and in His death on the cross. All that is to show us His immeasurable love. If you listen to Jesus' words, if you see what He does, everything we look at and listen to about Jesus tells us about his love for us. So, what's the goal? Get to know God. One of the ways we do it is by spending time with him in prayer, by opening up the scriptures, especially the Gospels, by seeing his love. And then, as St. Paul says, we love because he first loved us. That once we start to see that love, we're going to want to spend time with him. We're not going to say just out of discipline. Not bad to do it, but we're going to do it mostly out of our love for him. So if you're not praying regularly, haven't been, look there. Look for where is the lack of love and how you can look and see God really more for who he is, and how you can show him that love by making the time to spend time with him. I'm walking on this beautiful day because who knows how long it'll be a day that's warm enough we go walk outside without a jacket on. It's a beautiful fall day. Winter is coming, and then spring's going to come, and then summer. All of those wonderful seasons, all beautiful and all expressions of God's love for us, as is everything that we can see in this world. So let's see it. Let's give God the credit for all that he's doing, and let that understanding of him and his love for us grow our love for him. And then let's take that and dedicate ourselves to a more intense, consistent, and loving life of prayer with him. I hope you found this helpful. If so, please share with your friends via your social media platforms. And God willing, we'll see you in next week's video.